Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Yay. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's episode of Dion's Daily Dose. Today's Thursday, May 28th. So we're 5 days away, right, from the primary, and my wife is losing her mind. I'm just kidding. No, she's doing pretty well, all things considered. Lot of stress, right? Trying to make sure that you get everything lined up and done, and get signs to the voting places, and make sure that you get them before they close, and all that stuff. So, couple of things on today's episode. I have some notes here because this is really important. For those of you that live in Lake County, you may or may not be aware that there is a proposal that has been talked about. Let me get it up here on the screen. Yay, Kelly, I appreciate that. Good job. Yes, go vote. Absolutely. First ever early vote. Sorry. Speaking of early voting, I had actually talked before about how I was going to vote on election day in the polls, and my people pulled me aside and they said, that is very admirable, but you are going to be far too busy on actual election day to have time to vote. It's cute that you think you're going to have time, but yeah, no, you need to early vote. So apparently I am going to have to vote tomorrow, but that's okay. I'm going to do that. I have to take my son to work. He was called in early tomorrow. They're like, yeah, we need you early. And then once I do that, I'm going to go out to Manic Meadery, because my wife has a very desperate need for something that they have. So I'm going to go out there, say hi to everybody. I'm going to drive Dion 1, which is my truck with all my campaign stuff on it. So let me show you what we have here. Now, this is in Lake County, right? It's about a solar farm that is proposed for Lake County. Now, this in and of itself certainly sounds good, right? Solar farm proposed for South Lake County. The project summary, right? 200 megawatt capacity, producing enough energy for over 40,000 homes, under 1,400 acres, crystalline silicone panels on trackers, interconnecting into the NIPSCO 345 kilovolt transmission line. Prairie grasses will be planted under and beneath panels. It is from Invenergy. Chicago-based Invenergy is proposing to locate a solar power generating facility on 1,400 acres in a to-be-determined area of the green shaded portion of the map of South Lake County. Now, that's all well and good, except the way that it's being gone about, the way that it's being done is a little bit different. First, let me get you the link to this article so you can read all about it. I'll touch on some highlights, but this isn't the big deal, right? The big deal is the way that it's set up currently. Because the way that it's zoned A1, right? Agricultural. The way that it's zoned is there would need to be an exemption or exception to be able to have this solar farm in Southern Lake County. And that's fine, right? Because it would be brought up before the council. The people would get the opportunity to come in. They get a chance to talk, why they're for it, why they're against it, etc. Well, my understanding is actually what they're trying to do is they're trying to add an amendment into the books so that that wouldn't be necessary anymore. So they're trying to actually add the amendment so that it could bypass public hearings. And essentially, an energy company or whomever would be able to establish themselves just about anywhere that's unincorporated, right? Since it's mostly A1. So now I have heard from some sources that it's not that anything's being done illegally or like behind the board or anything. Just that it's just weird, right? It's just weird. So here's what I'm bringing to light, as it were. I am telling you that if you do not want a solar company or any company to be able to utilize massive tracts of land for whatever they want, it might be a good idea to contact your Lake County Council. There are apparently 7 districts, but you can speak to any of them. Let me put this on the screen. Here is the county council website. Again, I will give you that information here. You can contact them by mail, right? Their address is 2293 North Main Street in Crown Point. You can call them on the phone at 219-755-3280. You can visit their Facebook or YouTube. Here are the council districts, right? Click on this and you'll get the high-res map, and you can see on this map, or not, failed to load PDF document. Look at that. That's technology for you right there. Anyway, basically all this blue area down here, not all, but the vast majority of this area, right, is all unincorporated. This is kind of most of Southern Lake County, especially, and there are large areas that are as well in various spots. I'm not gonna pretend to be more educated about that than I am. What I will tell you is, if you want the ability to speak your mind and have the council listen to you and have these acts be approved publicly rather than at any time, if you value your voice being used to make decisions like that, then I would recommend that you contact the council and tell them that you would like them to vote no on this amendment. Because here's the issue. The council is the sole arbitrating body on this, which means they make the decision as to whether this amendment gets passed or not. I can tell you how I feel about it, but what's more important is how you feel about it. There have been multiple people that I have talked to that are not in favor of this, that want their voice to be heard, that want the opportunity to have hearings and to go to these hearings and say, hey, I'm against this, here's why, or I'm for this, here's why. I think that that's a very important part of our government. It's a very important part of us being able to give our input, right? Yes, we elect these people to be a representative for us and to make decisions. I think that this would remove a voice from our government, from you. It may expedite the process for these companies, but it certainly wouldn't benefit the democratic process, right? I see no benefit to that with this. It's up to you, right? You're the residents. I don't live in Lake County right now, so I have no input on it. I'm just bringing it to your attention so you can do whatever you like, and you can do the research on it if you so wish. The NWI Times article, as is often the case, is extremely praising of the this idea, this Invenergy thing. It goes into, what about it, and says that it's very glowing, right? It's one of those things that almost sound too good to be true. That is what it is. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Kenneth, I said he already knows about it. That's good. There are many people, though, that may not be aware. Shannon said NIPSCO wants out of the power generation service. They want to maintain the lines and charge customers to deliver the power from the panels and the windmills. Yeah, I heard that as well. NIPSCO actually is trying to get out of this, and they want to, like you said, just maintain the lines and charge customers to deliver it. I am not opposed to solar energy. Solar energy, I don't know anyone who is really, but I think that there are ways to go about things. I think there are ways where our voice should and can be heard, and ways that it won't be heard. Shannon also says, without regulation, I would expect a rate increase from the generation companies plus the cost to transmit via NIPSCO. My concern as far as this goes is twofold, right? Number one, what studies have been done? What do we know about how it will impact the community and what these things are? Also, I'm not in favor of anything that removes the people from the. As you've seen with my live streams, I want to hear directly from you. I want to know what you believe about these things, and unfortunately, I think there are people that don't want input from the public. They just want to hear, how can we make this faster? How can we make it better, etc. So again, if you would like to get in touch with your county council, let's see if we can get you. Yeah. All right. So David Ham, right? He's District 1. He's the vice president. District 2, Alfredo Menchaca. District 3, Charlie Brown. District 4, Daniel Durnall. That's Dan Durnall. I know him. District 5, Christine Sid. District 6, Ted Bilski. And District 7, Christian J. Jorgensen. These are your Lake County councilmen and women, and they are who ultimately will be voting for or against this amendment. Let's see here. The next meeting, I was told, is in, I'm not sure if they're having one on the 4th, but according to this, June 4th will be the next meeting. I thought that was a different day, but here is from their website, right? The February one was canceled. March, April, May, June 4th, according to this, is the next meeting, and it is Lake County Council's large conference room, 3rd floor, room 315, Building A, Lake County Government Center, 2293 North Main Street in Crown Point. They have the directions down here, et cetera, et cetera. I linked the page already, so by all means, make your voice heard. Let them know. Let them know how you feel. It's your government, ladies and gentlemen. They're just sitting on it. So moving on, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Tuesday, right? Big day for those who already voted. Awesome. For those of you who already voted and voted for me, I appreciate it. Thank you. I will not let you down. For those who have not voted yet, but know you're going to vote for me, again, yay, thank you. I truly, truly appreciate that. That's one thing I did want to say is, over the course of this campaign, this election season, some really crazy things have happened, right? We've had to make some changes to normal campaigning, what would be regular, right? We've had to change it and get some new ideas in there. Over the course of this, we've met a lot of wonderful people that I absolutely plan on keeping in touch with. No matter which way this goes, we're going to keep doing the show. We're going to maybe expand it and do something else. I don't know. Oh, Paul said he did his. Thank you. And his mom added to our total. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So for those of you, though, that have not decided, that are still very torn between the Republican contenders for District 1, I just want to give you a really quick breakdown of what I feel are the reasons why you should vote for me, right? Rich, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So basically, we had the Republican debate, right? And although we wanted to do it in person, Chris Wells was already on. I think overall it went really well. I think it was a good showing. Last I checked, we had like almost 3,000 views on it. So the word is getting out there. Talk about why me versus some of the other candidates, right? Well, first of all, experience. Not in going to Washington and, hobnobbing with the rich and powerful. I have dealt with people from all across the political spectrum and all across this country. When we go to Washington, D.C., yes, we are there to represent the 1st District of Indiana, but we're also dealing with people from every other state, right? I've been to almost all of them. I've dealt specifically with regular men and women, all the way from the super rich to the completely destitute, all across this country in my years as a truck driver. I think that would help us a lot. Some cultures are different, right? It's a different culture in Southern Louisiana than it is up here. They have drive-through daiquiri shops down there, which my wife loves, by the way. Also experience, we've had a couple of forums lately where it was almost exclusively Democrats that showed up. And on one of them, had I not gone, it would have been just Democrats. Yeah, Paul, absolutely. District 1, Hoosiers, then Americans, in that order, right? So on these forums or roundtables or whatever you want to call it, there are so many people, and for one, so many people saying the same thing. I did link, for those of you that were asking, I did link the actual video. I finally got it from Jordan, the one who designed the politicking app. She reached out to me. She's like, yeah, we got to deal with slow Wi-Fi because everybody's home. But I did get it. I shared it on my Dion for Congress page. Take a look at it when you get a chance. I've never seen so much pandering in one place. Oh my goodness, it was something else. So the next reason, right? Ideas. And I did want to point out that even surrounded by Democrats, I still held my own. I held my own for the Republican Party. I held my own for the residents of District 1. I think I did a pretty good job. Ideas, right? Talking points are cheap. Okay. Anyone can copy, which there's a candidate who literally copied and pasted the Republican website. Just going to let you know. I'm not going to say who it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But every word on my website I wrote. I just want you to know that. Ideas, right? Talking points, dime a dozen, right? Do you want a congressman that initiates new positive ideas, right? Or someone that parrots talking points or copies others? Just asking, do you want someone that utilizes technology, right? I stepped up and I connected with you. I started doing lives. I promised to keep those up and communicate directly with you. I'd like to see live stream town halls from our representatives. Why are we not doing that already? I mean, maybe there are some, but I don't see it in use nearly as widespread as it should be. That's one thing I will say about this whole COVID thing is it has pushed technology in some ways in a positive way. We've been able to, telecommute. We've been able to have telehealth appointments, stuff like that. I answer your questions directly every night. Ask me a question, I answer it. Right. There are some people. I don't know if you noticed, but there are a couple of trolls that I've learned to ignore because they don't bring anything positive to the conversation. But the first question from anyone, I will answer until it's shown that you are not there to contribute to the conversation. You're just there to stir trouble. But at the same time, I also have no problem talking to and answering those who have a different political opinion than myself. I think that's important because we have to realize that this first district is comprised of people from all across the political spectrum. We have people who have attended Bernie Sanders rallies and cheered him on, and we have people that have attended Donald Trump rallies and cheered him on. We have people that, no matter how much evidence is shown that he's unfit, are still planning to vote for Joe Biden. Moving on. Accountability. Look, I've stayed firm in all of my statements, right? All of my stances, but I don't hide it when I make a mistake. If I make a mistake, I own up to it, right? I've done a little more research on some topics and been like, okay, I was wrong on that, right? I don't hear that from anyone else. I don't hear that accountability. And I know, especially when you run for office, you got to try to maintain that perfection facade, right? I never mess up. I'm never going to make a mistake. Everyone makes a mistake, right? Some people more than others. I think voters in general, they just want to hear you say, oops. They just want to hear you say, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. And move on. Let me tell you another reason. It kind of goes back to me, being all across the country. I could have lived anywhere in the United States, right? Even outside the United States if I wanted to. But in general, looking around, I was like, where do I want to live? When I was driving truck, I was from one end of the country to the other, from, Seattle to Miami, from Maine down to LA. I mean, just everywhere. Where do I want to live? And I've seen some very, very beautiful places in this country. Absolutely breathtaking, just gorgeous. I chose Northwest Indiana, not only because I grew up here, right, but because I truly believe in the area. I think it's fantastic. The people, the beaches. Michigan City has one of the greatest beaches anywhere in the area. And that's a whole other issue that we'll leave for another time, with the lifeguard and all that. I don't want to talk about that right now. It makes me angry. But I love Michigan City. I love the first district. There are some amazing people here, and I chose to live here, right? And I don't regret that decision. I think it's a fantastic region. I think the people are awesome, and I can't imagine. I really can't. I can't imagine living anywhere else. My wife and I, actually, we were talking about this was a few years ago. We were like, so where would we live, right? If we could live anywhere, like let's say you won the lottery or whatever, where would we go? And we actually were looking at a lot of different places. We were like, well, the standard, you want to live in Beverly Hills? No, definitely not. You want to move out to Montana? Too rural for her. Yeah, we like, okay, so East Coast, nah. West Coast, okay, so let's bring it in, right? And we actually looked at all different areas of the United States. And we decided that this is where we want to live. We love it here. We love it here. Anyone could use more money, right? I'd love to have, the way I look at it, I'd love to have enough money to pay my bills, go to the grocery store and stock up on groceries without having to check my balance, right? And if something breaks on my car, get it fixed, do all the preventative maintenance. Other than that, I don't need any more money than that. But who can't use more money, right? But that aside, I love the area. I really legitimately Can't think of anywhere else that I'd rather live. So moving on, other reasons. So the Second Amendment, and this is a takeaway from the debate that we had. I felt, of course, I'm biased, but I really felt that I was the strongest on the Second Amendment question that was asked, and my answer. But it's deeper than that, right? The Second Amendment is very personal to me for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is I worked at a prison where I saw people that were unable to defend themselves, and what the result of that was. Mont, right? I thought Mont overall, I thought he did okay. In some areas, I thought he did really well because he has, let's face it, he's a smart dude. He, invented a product and has a successful business. He's a college professor. I mean, he's a smart cookie. But I think he was kind of weak on the Second Amendment and his claim that we're going to lose the soccer moms if we don't budge on the Second Amendment. I disagree with that. As I pointed out, we have over 200 laws on the books already that directly fly in the face of the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed, right? I don't see a reason to write more laws and restrict more things. In fact, I would personally like to see some of these rolled back. We have a ton of laws that would just need to be rolled back. One thing that I do want to bring up, and I think it's really, really important, is and then you have the other extreme, right? Which Spencer, who overall I didn't think he did too bad. I think there were some areas he could have done better on. I think there were some areas that his youth kind of hurt him a little bit. But on the Second Amendment, he gave a very strong answer. Guns are our religion, right? I think that's going to hurt. I think if he wins the nomination, I think that's going to hurt us in the general. I think that's going to get played over and over and over. But so I want to tell you one thing that I think is really important to talk about is when we use terms like terrorism and acts of terrorism and acts of war, especially when you're a congressman, right? It is absolutely critical that you use those terms very, very, very carefully. And one of the many reasons why you have to be very careful utilizing those terms is that insurance companies don't pay out for those types of things. I'm not going to say them again because I'm probably already going to have an issue with the almighty censorship deities on the social media platforms, but they don't pay out, right? They will offer policies in certain areas to certain companies, but your general policy that you have for your life insurance, for your health insurance, for your automobile insurance, those things are not covered. And using those terms willy-nilly, as it were, just throwing them around, can potentially end up with people not being covered for injury and death. As a matter of fact, if you look back at George W. Bush and his classification of the attack, he actually had to walk those comments back because of the insurance companies. They didn't want to cover things, right? So I think it's important that we have a voice for the region that understands all the nuances. And, speaking of voice, I think it's important that we speak up for all the residents of the region. Listen, this new breed of Democrat, because it's a new breed, the progressives, whatever they want to call themselves, they have passion. There's no doubt about that. They are very, very, very passionate. Is it misplaced? Well, to them, no, but to us, I believe, right? But they do have that passion. They have that drive. They're very, very, very vocal. Now, is that a bad thing? And, it depends. Living in America, I absolutely value free speech. I value the ability to say whatever you want. But when someone like Ryan Farrar wishes death on people, I think it's the job of conservatives to stand up and say, hey, that's not okay. I don't want you hurt because you believe differently than me. And I think we need someone that's willing to do that. And the other thing that needs to be understood about the new breed of Democrats is they're absolutely willing to target audiences, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but the show, what is it, RuPaul's Drag Race, right? AOC actually went on that show because she knows she needs those votes, right? They target audiences. They know how to get their message out there. We need to adapt as a party and as a region. We need to move into the next steps. I think that's really important to realize, because we have people in this district that are kind of stuck in the past. I'm not talking about anybody viewing this, because obviously you're here, you're online, right? But there are many people that are struggling with technology. I'd like to reach out to them, because there are many ways that technology is beneficial. And Paul points out a good point. Dunes, most diverse ecosystem. Absolutely. The Indiana Dunes is amazing, right? So there's a couple other things that I want to show you as to reasons why I believe that I am the one that you should vote for. The first one is, have you heard of Vote 411? They are a voter guide type of service that will allow you to look into the candidates and compare candidates and learn who's on your ballot and other stuff like that. It's actually pretty cool. My understanding is that Vote 411 was organized by the League of Women Voters. Now, if you go to vote411.org, you can put your address in. You're not giving away anything. They're just using it to craft your ballot, is my understanding. And you go to Indiana U.S. House District 1, right? Now, they do have the position responsibilities a little incorrect, because the way that they apparently see it is that it's for the Indiana U.S. House rather than the United States House of Representatives. But I don't know. But they have it to where it says creates laws for the state of Indiana, establishes a state budget, has the ability to raise and lower taxes. That's obviously a little bit incorrect. We actually go to Washington, D.C., and the laws are for the entire nation and a national budget. But that aside, let's move on down. We have, look at that, first one, woo! But as you see here, you got all the candidates, right? All the candidates that are running in the first district for this seat. I filled mine out. My information is down here. You're more than welcome to go to Vote 411 and check out what I said. But if you'll notice, there was no response from several other candidates. No response whatsoever. So, and then some of them are one-word answers. I understand you need to be what's the word? Concise, right? But you got to be. Yeah, Paul, you're absolutely correct. There is no connection to state policy making with this position. But just real quick, I'm going to show you. That's my address. My website, I have my phone on there, right? Contact me. I have my social media links, which for some reason are not tagged. I guess you got to copy paste them. I don't know. So my top 3 priorities, if elected: giving the people of Northwest Indiana a voice in Washington. Middle America has been ignored and marginalized for far too long. ensuring that every American citizen has quality, affordable health care that covers pre-existing conditions. Working with those on both sides of the aisle to pass legislation that reflects the values and priorities of the First District, as well as rolling back federal overreach that does not reflect those values. I thought I did pretty well on it, obviously, but it just comes down to this, especially at the beginning of the race, was the way to communicate with the voters, right? Especially, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, right? They kept taking the information well past the time that they were supposed to stop, that they said they would stop. Ballotpedia did the same thing. They extended the deadline. Now, Ballotpedia I had done almost right away. But Ballotpedia as well. There are a couple, I believe, that didn't fill those out. Let's see here. I'm not sure. But again, here's the information for Ballotpedia, right? I believe in our Constitution. I'm a firm supporter of the First, Second, and 10th Amendments. I will work hard to protect our God-given rights. I believe in, I don't believe in Medicare for all or a single payer system, but of our current healthcare, preventative healthcare, patient education, transparency in healthcare costs, increased ability to negotiate prices. I've talked about all these before, but I did answer. So if you're still torn, go look at the various differences between campaigns, between answers, and that should help you. That should help you make a determination. I want to share something with you that I actually just got the email right before I went live. I'm not going to show you the email, but I am going to read a little bit that's in it. So they did a poll, right? Let me see if you can. See. Okay, yeah. So they did a poll. They sent a poll out to, I believe, approximately 600 Hoosiers was what it was. Let me check. Among 600 likely Hoosier voters, right? And what they were asking was how the approval rating, right, of Trump, Holcomb, and Curtis Hill. So they said they tested the incumbent Attorney General Curtis Hill. His approval rating is included below, as is his performance against the possible Democrat nominee for Attorney General. Now I'm going to give you a couple of seconds if you would like to take bets on how well you think the people said, what the approval ratings were for Trump / Pence, Holcomb, and AG Hill. I'll give you a minute. I will tell you that I was a little surprised at the results. My wife was extremely surprised. My eyes, this is light I got up here. So listen to this. I again give you a couple seconds so you in the room you can take bets with your family and friends. Put a little bit on the line. All right, we're going to start. Yeah, get the chips out. Okay, so let's see here. It doesn't actually give numbers for Trump, but it does say that they remain steady and in positive territory in Indiana. And they're confident that the state will once again be first on the board for them in November. All right. So, believe it or not, Eric Holcomb got a smashing review. Absolutely smashing. Favorable, 72%. This is overall. Unfavorable, 15%. Overall job approval or disapproval, right? Well, overall job approval, 79%. Disapproval, 15%. Here was the most surprising part for me. Approve, / disapprove of COVID-19 response. Okay. You ready? You ready? Dun, dun, dun. 83% approve of his response to COVID-19. Only 13% disapprove. And I'm going to say, I think personally, I think a big part of that is the get stuff back open thing.
Part of that is comparing us to Illinois.
Yeah, and my wife makes a good point. Remember that we're surrounded, at least, Illinois and Michigan, by nutty governors, right? So I guess compared to, Kentucky as well is losing their mind, but compared to those, so the projection, right, head to head, Governor Holcomb versus Woody Myers, I guess is who is probably going to be running against him on the Democrat side. I don't think anybody else even stepped up for it, did they? Is it just him, or is there anyone else on the Democrat? Yeah. No. Oh, Woody's a doctor? Fair enough. So Governor Holcomb, 64%, Woody Myers, 21%. That was the poll. So this new data, it says, confirms a Washington Post poll from last week that had Governor Holcomb with a 76% approval rating. If these current trends hold, Governor Holcomb is poised for a historic re-election this November as voters trust the Holcomb-Crouch team to lead Indiana back from the pandemic-induced slowdown in our economy.
Rainwater. Don't forget, there's rainwater.
Yeah. No, they didn't even poll for him, though. Paul wants to know, who did they survey? That is a very good question. 600 Hoosiers is all it said. Now, for the bad news, at least for Curtis Hill. This is very bad news. Favorable. Only 16% said favorable. Unfavorable, 29% unfavorable. His unfavorable is twice almost what his favorable rating is. Head-to-head, right? The projected head-to-head race between Curtis Hill, if it was Curtis Hill was the delegate, or excuse me, the AG nominee for the Republican Party, head-to-head against, I'm not sure if I'm going to say his name right, Jonathan Weinzapfel. It's Weinzapfel. That's the guy running on the Democrat side for AG. Head-to-head, Curtis Hill, 32%. Jonathan Weinzapfel, 39%. Now, head-to-head among those that know Hill, those that know him personally, Curtis Hill, 27%. Weinzapfel, 54%. Head-to-head among women, Hill, 28%. Weinzapfel, 41%. I think that is very, very telling. I'm hoping that they do a little more robust polling, but I'm going to tell you, the way it sounds, if we put Curtis Hill up, we're going to lose the AG seat. And you lose AG, it's a downhill slide, right? We've had and look, the new Democrat Party is so far left. It's gone just right way out there. Who knows what kind of insanity that they would bring. So let's look at our options, right? We have Westerkamp, who's young, very conservative, very Christian, seems to be a very good candidate. His only downside at all that I can find is his youth and relative inexperience. But now we have someone new. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know anything about the Harder guy. I personally didn't like the way that whole thing went down. I didn't mind Eric Krupp. He seemed okay. I met him. He seemed nice. I was willing to learn more about him. Then all of a sudden, poof, he vanished. I even offered to have him on my show. right? Just gone. But now we have Todd Rokita. And I'm going to tell you, Todd Rokita is a very well-known Republican voice. It certainly makes it interesting, right? I wonder if it's this kind of polling that made Rokita decide to join in the race. I could see that. I could see that because there is a need to retain the AG seat, a definitive need, because we can see how crazy that could get. I don't know. I'll have to. I'm hoping maybe post primary, because I'm going to be too busy to try to get anybody on the show between now and the primary night. I am going to try to live stream though the victory party, right?
We're calling it the end of the primary.
Yeah, I've reached out to Zorn. I still haven't heard back from them. My understanding was that he was going to speak to the owner, the guy who organizes the parties. He was going to speak to the owner and get back to me. If you happen to watch this, if you're in the know on that, let me know. I have emailed him. I have stopped in. I have called. I have not been able to connect back with him. Pretty soon I might have to try to get it somewhere else if I don't hear anything. And that'd be unfortunate because I actually dig Zorn. I think upstairs would be perfect. And they do have Zeus, the dog. He is absolutely adorable. I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, here I'm gonna give you the link to Vote 411. Yeah, Paul, that's a good idea. He says, what about industrial revolution? If I don't hear anything from Zorn, let's see here.
Industrial revolution, they got a lot of heat for just being patriotic.
Yeah, and it's possible they may not want to host a Republican victory party because but maybe they did. They were very excited and very, very kind when I reached out to them for my meet and greet there, which I held, and it was fantastic. Great food. Met some fantastic people during that. We'll see. But if I don't hear anything from Zorn by the end of business tomorrow at the latest, probably by noon tomorrow, I'm going to call them. Right when they open, maybe even stop in again and see, because I gotta book the place, right? I'm sure that, I don't know. We'll see. And I will say Industrial Revolution is a lot more central. But on the other hand, that's a far drive for me to come home, but it's a far drive for you too. So we'll see. We'll find a place. We will get it figured out one way or another. I got a big backyard, so worst case, we'll break out the grill and we'll get some food going. Liz is looking. I don't think any of us are going to be focused on that, to be honest. She's going to be biting her nails and jumping up and down and all that. But
come the second, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of voting, when voting, the polls close on the 2nd, it's over one way or another. Yeah, the chaos on the left is going to be glorious to witness. I personally think, this is just my personal opinion, but I personally believe that if McDermott loses this primary, he is going to have a meltdown.
He'll call for a recount.
Yeah, Liz is absolutely convinced that he's going to call for a recount and fight every step of the way. He is. I will agree that he is a bully with a boxing glove for his logo. Okay, so tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's going to be a little later because the Porter Republicans have asked, the ones who hosted the debate, they have asked me to write 2 questions and submit them, and they will pick one of them to use for me. Okay? Yeah? Okay. So Liz wants me. Yeah, I submitted these earlier today. Let me see here. I got to get to, why isn't it popping up? Hold on. I might need to refresh. That's weird. It's not showing. I can't. Hold on. I'm going to try it this way. So anyway, they asked for two. They asked for two questions, right? Oh, I know what I can do.
Based on what you didn't get asked.
Yeah. So it was about the debate, right? And what they said, their exact words.
Does anyone know the other questions the other candidates are getting asked?
Yeah, I don't know what other candidates put. So apparently, Mon Hanley declined. Right? He's not gonna come on. I wasn't interested in like another roundtable type thing. I've got enough of those. I got other stuff to do. But a short little, interview. I kind of went back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. So I had asked the person putting this on. I had said, so can you give me some clarity as to what types of questions you're looking for? They said, if I were a stranger on the street that saw your debate and I was still unsure who my vote was for, what else would you want me to know about you to get my vote? Put that into two questions for us to ask so you can lead into your response. We will pick one. So here is what I posted, if I can get to it. For some reason, the email on my computer acts kind of weird. It works much better on my phone. I got to look into that and see what's going on, but that's okay. Here is, if I can get to it, please. Okay. So it was. Millions of Americans are paying exorbitant amounts of money for health insurance, medications, and procedures. What is your plan to make sure that Americans have access to coverage without sacrificing the benefits of our free market? So then it gives me an opportunity to talk about my healthcare plan, which we didn't get to in the debate. Unfortunately, when you have that many people and you're trying to go and stick to time, you don't have a lot of time for questions, right? Also, let's be honest here. We have campaigns to run. Sometimes taking 2, 3, 4 hours for something isn't really, something that's a possibility. But I think overall the debate was fantastic. We got to a lot of really, really critical questions. So question number 2, I said the steel industry is responsible for 1.98 million jobs across the nation and is a critical part of the economy in North. What is your plan on advocating for American manufacturing in general and unions in particular? So those were my questions that I submitted. They said they will pick one of them. So let me know what you guys think of those questions. That's kind of what I figured was most missed, if anything, in the debate. Healthcare, obviously, and I'm going to tell you. So my buddy, right, who came on, the one that worked at the prison with me and now works at the mill, he said, so I know how you feel about unions, right? I know we've talked about it at length, your right to work stance, your union stance. I'll admit, if I didn't know that, I didn't get the impression from the debate that anyone was willing to stand up for unions. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, your answer was good. It was a good answer. You want to represent everybody, but I didn't get the feeling that you were pro-union. I got the feeling that, you kind of rode the middle a little bit. And I'm like, wow, I tried to make it to where, we talked about it for a while, but so I think that would help me. If for whatever reason we don't get that question, if we get the healthcare question, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a much shorter, which I'm going to work on tonight, by the way. I have some really good issue-oriented videos that I'm working on. I'm trying to get them polished and make them better. I'm a perfectionist in some areas, and it drives the life absolutely bonkers. But I've learned, though, I've gotten much better. I've learned that in many cases, perfection is unattainable. Run with what you got, right? So I'm putting those together. They'll be very short, just a couple minutes, issue-oriented. If we don't get to the question about unions, then I will make a definitive video about it so that those of you out there who are steel workers that are union can see again and don't have to go through an hour-long video. You have a very short clip that tells you exactly how I feel about unions, which I'm in favor of. There are many, I've talked about it many times, but it's nice to have just some short issue-oriented videos that you can refer to. Maybe if you want to tell your friends or whatever. Look, here's what it comes down to for me, right? 54 minutes into the video. Here's what it comes down to for me. We have a choice this election, right? We have the best chance of flipping this district red we've ever had. But with the right candidate, because let me tell you, any little mistake, right, as far as stances go, as far as all these things go, but more importantly, we're not going to win this district without the labor vote. That's, in my opinion, that's why Pete has been able to win over and over and over, right? There, in general, union members are pretty conservative guys.
A labor vote that stayed consistent from day one.
Yeah, we need a labor stance that has stayed consistent from day one, which I have. We need someone that didn't realize later on down the road that, oh yeah, I do kind of need a labor vote, and then say, which other candidates on both sides have done. They have realized that, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't be so anti this, and I'm concerned about that and the effect that that'll have in the general when you sidestep. So we have, and Shannon said we're looking to give each candidate more exposure equally, and I agree with that. I think it's a great thing. I think that the debate overall was fantastic. I think it reached a lot of people. It gave a lot of people some insight into who these people are, right? Who's running for this office? Who is this person? Because normally you go to the fish fries, you go to the pancake breakfast, you go to this, you go to that. We haven't had that chance, right? We haven't had that chance. So we'll see what happens. Just, 5 days left, and then this part of the story will be over. We can reflect. We can talk about what went well, what didn't. Yeah, and I've looked. If you guys know of another candidate on the Republican side, particularly, that has been as transparent with their survey answers, let me know, because I wasn't able to find any of the other candidates' survey answers. And if they said something on that survey that they are not saying publicly or saying the opposite of publicly, that's going to come out. Just saying, it will come out. Everything comes out in an election. Everything, and then we're done, right? So it is what it is. I haven't seen. If you guys know, let me know, guys and girls, just like always. So thank you for joining me tomorrow. This is what I was going to say that got me kind of sidetracked. I'm going to be going on and I'm going to do the thing for the Porter County. It's scheduled to start at 7. The plan is to give 15 minutes to each candidate. I will share watch parties so everybody can see what's going on. As soon as that's over, whichever question didn't get asked to me, I'm going to start a live stream here, answer that question for you. So that's what we got. Again, I appreciate everyone hanging out with me on your evening, and we will see you tomorrow for the, I don't know, what are they calling it? Question Q&A, final push. I don't know.
A glimpse into the candidates.
Yeah, a glimpse into the candidates. I don't know. I kind of like that, but either way, you will see me after that tomorrow night, and then we're going to try to do the live streams. We got to figure out how exactly we're going to set it up to do final push. That's what it was. I knew it was something. Final push. Yeah. I knew there was something like that, but we're going to try to set it up to where you guys can join me on the victory party, or, whatever, the party, the end of campaign party, or we'll just call it the end of primary party. Yeah, and it's a thank you to all of the people out there that believe in me, that believe that we can make a change, that believe that I am the voice of that change. I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. So no matter what happens, I don't feel as if any time was wasted. I don't feel as if anything could have been any better, realistically. So we'll see you then, right? God bless you, and God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.